The Australian government has introduced the biggest reform to superannuation ever. Now everyone with taxed super, that's most workers, can look forward to paying absolutely no tax on their super payout after they're 60. After all, you've worked hard for it. So tipping more money into your super is now one of the best investments you can make. And now there's a lot more flexibility in how and when you take your super. In addition, more pensioners will get a higher government pension, while many others will get one for the first time. And most self-employed can now claim a full tax deduction for their super contributions. In the next few weeks, you'll hear more about how super has become an even better reward for all your hard work. And we'll send you a booklet which explains the improvements. Or use our website or helpline. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. There are a few simple steps every Australian can take to make sure they get the most out of the biggest reform to superannuation ever. If you've had several jobs over your working life, it's likely you've got super in several different funds. There may be real benefits in having all your super in one fund. And now, it's much easier to combine all your super together in the fund of your choice. Just talk to your preferred super fund to find out how. What's more, if you've lost track of some of your super, there's a service to help you find it. And make sure your super fund has your tax file number. It helps you keep track of your money and make sure you pay the lowest rate of tax on contributions. After all, you've worked hard for it. Soon, every household will receive a booklet which explains the improvements to super. Or use our website or helpline. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. This is Paul, aged 40. Paul earns $55,000 a year. And like most working Australians, he has a taxed super fund. Let's see how he'll benefit from the biggest reform to superannuation ever. If Paul decides to retire at, say, 65, he'll get $76 extra a week to spend during his retirement. That's in today's dollars, and without Paul having to contribute any extra to his super. And because he'll be over 60, he'll pay absolutely no tax on his super payout, which is a good reward for all his hard work. To find out more about the changes to super, visit australia.gov.au or call our helpline on 13 10 20. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. This is Pete, aged 30. He takes home $635 a week. And like most working Australians, he has a taxed super fund. Let's see how he'll benefit from the biggest reform to superannuation ever. If Pete decides to retire at 65, the changes mean that he'll receive $81 extra a week to spend during his retirement. That's in today's dollars. And without tipping anything extra into his super fund. And Pete's super payout will be absolutely tax-free as long as he takes it after he's 60, which is fair enough. He works hard for it. To find out more about the changes to super, visit australia.gov.au or call our helpline on 13 10 20. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. Thinking about super when you're young can really make a difference to your future. Take Margaret, who's just started full-time work at 22. Her take-home pay is around $455 a week. And like most Australians, she has a taxed super fund. Tipping just a little into her super can make a big difference when she retires, especially with the government's co-contribution of up to $1.50 for every dollar she puts in after tax. Margaret starts tipping in just $25 a week extra into her super and increases that at the same rate as her wages go up. She'll then end up with over $235,000 extra in her lump sum if she retires at 60, and that's in today's dollars. And thanks to the biggest reform to superannuation ever, that money will be absolutely tax-free after she's 60, which is only fair because she works hard for it. To find out more, use our website or helpline. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. This is Joe, age 53. He takes home $820 a week. And like most working Australians, he has a taxed super fund. Let's see how he'll benefit from the biggest reform to superannuation ever. Joe's just paid off his mortgage, so now he's adding to his super in the run-up to his retirement. His employer is helping by putting it through as a salary sacrifice, which saves Joe on tax. His mortgage payments were $150 a week. Putting it into super instead, plus the changes to super, means he will end up with an extra $140,000 in his lump sum if he retires at 65. And because he'll be over 60, his super payout will be absolutely tax-free, which is fair enough. He's worked hard for it. To find out more, use our website or helpline. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. This is Amanda, who is self-employed. Let's see how she'll benefit from the biggest reform to superannuation ever. For a start, most self-employed people, like Amanda, can claim all their superannuation contributions as a tax deduction, which is only fair because they've worked hard for it. The changes also mean that Amanda may now be eligible for the Super Co-Contribution Scheme, where the government tips in extra to help her super grow. And, like all people with taxed super, she can look forward to paying absolutely no tax on her super payout after she's 60. So tipping a little more money into a super is now one of the best investments a self-employed person like Amanda can make, which is a fair reward for all her hard work. To find out more about the improvements to super, visit australia.gov.au or call the helpline. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. This is Julie. She's not ready to retire, but she doesn't want to work full-time anymore. And like most working Australians, she has a taxed super fund. Let's see how she'll benefit from the biggest reform to superannuation ever. Now Julie will have more flexibility on how she moves to retirement, which is fair enough because she's worked hard for it. She's turned 60 and wants to drop down to working 3 days a week. She can now take part of her super as regular income, tax-free, and use it to top up her take-home pay. And because she's still working, she keeps adding to her super. And, of course, when she retires, her super payout is absolutely tax-free after she's 60, which is a fair reward for all of Julie's hard work. To find out more about the improvements to super, use our website or helpline. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. Let's see how retirees, like Joan and Harry here, are going to benefit from the biggest reform to superannuation ever. Under the current rules, many people miss out on the age pension because of the value of their assets. So we've halved the rate at which savings and other assets affect the pension, which is fair enough because you've worked hard to put something away. What this means is that hundreds of thousands of retired people will receive more money. Some because they get a larger pension, and some because they get a pension for the first time. It's just part of a simpler, fairer system that gives everyone the opportunity for a better retirement. To find out more, visit australia.gov.au or call our helpline on 13 10 20. Better Super. Australia's worked hard for it. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.